recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you were listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 624. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today I have my favorite co-host, Corey Romero. Today is Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. Corey Romero, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Eric. Yeah, doing well. Yeah, weather in Utah is nice and starting to cool down a little bit. But yeah, other than that, doing great.
Awesome. You're looking good there. Did you trim your beard or something? Like you look really, really sharp here, man. If you haven't seen...
I've been keeping it about this length.
Oh, nice. If you haven't seen Corey Romero or myself or our guest, Julia Klaus, you can go to youtube.com/VBarbecue where we stream live, and you can go check us out and give us a like and a follow. So we are back. Last week, we had Ariel Sanchez on. We published that one, and we were up at VMUG. I was up at VMUG in Nashville, Tennessee, working with the VMUG.org people. Had a lot of fun with that. So it's good to hear. On the show today, we're actually going to be talking about VMware Explore Europe, give you some updates on VMUG that I got back from Nashville last week, but also we're going to be talking about Europe, what's happening with Europe, and officially introducing Julia Klaus, who has stepped into the role of the community manager position for VMTN, which is our forums network on communities.vmware.com, and she also works with the V Brown Bag now and manages all the session that's going to be happening at Europe. So we'll get to Julia Klaus, who normally is our live stream YouTuber as well, but this new position, we'll talk to her about it, as well as just talk about things that are happening at Explore in Europe. So it should be a fun time. So stay tuned. But before we get to that, let's talk about the news. What is the news? Let's see. We got a shout out to obviously vmug.org in Nashville. Had a great planning season for 2024. Lots of things happening. They're doing a virtual event in December with Microsoft on cloud computing. So I think that'll be fun. Stay tuned for that one. Watch for that one coming out. They are going to be at VMworld Explore Europe, of course. We're excited about that. But they're also doing some great work on a leadership conference they're going to be running. So a certain number of leaders will be invited to go to the annual leadership conference, which I think is going to be in Lisbon, Portugal this year. So that should be fun. I think that's also in late November, early December. They rotate invites. So if you are a VMUG leader, you listen to the podcast and you don't get an invite, they rotate this every 4 years. You should get an invite. So if you've already been, you won't probably get an invite until 3 more years from now. So they try to get through all the leaders every 4 years. That way they have it like 100 plus people, which will be a manageable number, and then they rotate to everybody. So that sounds exciting. I'm excited about that. VMware Explore, obviously, Reg is open, Schedule Builder's open, the sessions are in, session notifications have gone out. The conference is the 7th through the 10th. There are flights. I know I booked my flight on Friday, and there were plenty of flights. I think I got a round trip flight to Europe for only $500.
Wow.
But then you have to add landing tax and all that. So out the door, it was more like 800 round trip. But still pretty reasonably priced flights available if you're so inclined to go to Europe. And I'm sure if you're in Europe, the flights obviously are quite a bit less than that. We are going to run the code session for the Intel NUCs slightly different. We're not going to do them as labs. We're going to do them as just a session. Me and Bill are going to take you through what we did, as well as Bill Roth is going to be talking about how he's running vSphere 7 on the NUCs, what he had to do to make vSphere run on the NUCs. And Corey, I assume we are giving away the NUCs, and we'll be there handing them out. And then you can come to 2 of our sessions. It'll take you through how to run vSphere on it and how to get sensors running on the x86 as well. So I think you're on schedule for that.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at the booth all hours of the show, except for obviously when I want to go eat. But yeah, I'll be there saying hello to all the V-experts, community members, and giving out the NUCs for the V-experts. Absolutely.
So the NUCs, just like the US, is in lieu of having a party, right? So we took the party
Yes.
budget, and actually we took the party budget for the last 2 years and saved it up and applied it to buy the Nooks. And I know people that have been telling me that they're actually running vSphere on the Nooks. You want to upgrade them. They come with 0 memory and 0 storage, so you have to put $50 US and getting an SSD and 32 gig of memory. I think 32 gig might be more expensive than that. Like I think memory might cost you like $60 or something like that.
I think I paid $60-$70 for memory.
For memory. Did you get the 32 gig? Somebody told me last week Friday, that they actually were able to put 32 gig chips in the Nooks, and they worked. So we should confirm that. So instead of just getting 2 16 gigs, they put 2 32s in, and it also works. So they ended up with 64 gig of memory. So good to know.
I did the 2 16s.
Yeah, that's what the Max Tang vendor said was, supposedly the max, but somebody went and got 2 32s, put them in, it works fine. So we'll have to go reinvestigate that and see what it is. So yes, so VExpert's going to be there. Corey Romero, you're going to be in Europe. That's great. And we'll be giving away the Nooks. That's great. Hopefully you can get them into your country without having to, pay any extra taxes. I know we pay taxes to get them into the country, so that's good. Excited about that. What else is going on? I think that's all I've got from a news perspective. Broadcom keeps dripping away. I haven't heard anything new about anything with Broadcom. So, and I heard that it's going to take a while longer anyway, sometime next year. So no news there. Excited about the schedule builder. Excited from talking to VMUG last week. They're gung-ho. They're going. The attendance has been... it's not at 100% of 2019 for VMUG user cons and that, but it is at like 75%. So our goal for 2024 is to exceed the 2019 numbers, right? And given that we had a great Explore event in the US, it wouldn't surprise me if we get back up to those levels. And I think they're ahead of schedule on the Europe registrations, right? So I looked at Europe registrations, and we were 10 or 15% above the registration curve, which is better because in the US, I think we were slightly below the curve.
Yeah, we were.
But in the US, we're actually up by 10 or 15%. And I haven't seen it since I went to VMUG last week, so I haven't got back and seen the latest curve, but I assume it'll probably still be on that trend. So that should be good. All right, so let's get to our guest, Julia Klaus. You finally get to be on the show as a guest, so welcome to the show. We always start the show with like, who are you? How long have you worked at VMware or in the ecosystem? What does your career look like? You got 5 minutes to tell us how you got here today.
All right, thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me here. Going a little back on my career arc, I went to college in Brazil for business administration. That's where I am from. Moved to US in 2013. And in 2017, I was lucky enough, and I was given the opportunity to work at VMware in marketing. I used to work in a different industry before. I was in business before, and was a whole new world for me, the marketing at VMware. And that's where I met the community, VMware community, and I met so many passionate and nice people that introduced me to this environment. And I really, really fell in love for this environment and working with the community. I used to work, my first role was as a communication manager, where I used to manage the code sessions in the theater. I was in Las Vegas 2017, and I'll never forget that year. That's where I met most of the folks from VMware community, and then that's how everything started. And I have been working for 7 years now at VMware. No, yes, since 2017, 5 years.
Yeah, I think when you first came, you were more of a social media video kind of social media person, right? When you came in, and that's how we picked you up, because I ran the social team as well as the community team and the influencer team. So I think you joined us through the social spot, and then we ended up using you on code. And so you've been a little around the world. So from Brazil, there is we have quite a few. We got like a Brazilian contingency. It seems like there's always a good Brazilian barbecue going on, where I always get invited, where the Brazilian guys are all at these barbecues doing the meat barbecues. So do you guys do you know any of these guys from the Brazilian side of the house? And I think we're going to do an explore this year in Brazil as well, right? So tell me a little bit more about Brazil.
Well, I know some of I met most of them at VMware. Used to be VMware 2017 in Vegas, and we keep contact sometimes through social, but I hear that not many of them are going to VMware Explore Europe, and unfortunately due to visa issues that's taking up 4 months. And that's so I got really sad, because they usually are a big presence at VMware Explore, but they're really great people, passionate, huge community in Brazil. One of the biggest numbers of the experts per country. If Corey correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's in Brazil. Also, VMware Explore happening the first year in Brazil. It's going to be from October 19 to 20, just 2 days, but they have almost 3,000 registered users, and so I have to give kudos to the team from Brazil. It's Eliana Tramontano, if I'm not, yes, and Ana Lapola. Great job there, and it's exciting. Maybe Eric, you have to start to consider next year's.
Yeah, I know that we are doing them in different regions now, just because of COVID and travel, and so I think the event team decided that we need to go where the people are, and get some of the events going. And I know the Japan one is also going to be popular. There's a China one that's going to be popular. I'm not sure if there's an Australia one. I don't think so. I think it's Japan, China, Brazil, and maybe one other of them.
Singapore, yeah.
So, yeah, don't know. Maybe Singapore. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so that sounds good. And then we had what's the guy we had that was from Brazil? We had a Brazilian guy in the community team for a little while that was running started the VExpert Pro.
HomeLabber, Val.
Super Value, the HomeLabber. This year was great to help us to start the VExpert Pro. And one of the reasons we pay attention about this year, he came to the booth in 2017, and he brought from Brazil a bunch of folks who if was not for one VExpert, they would not join the VExpert program, because they would not speak English and they didn't have contact directly to the program. They could not. So we had Valdecir as English speaker as well, being the first VExpert Pro to help together those groups. And then we had the idea with Corey and Eric to have this program in other countries as well, because when we imagine how many people, VMware users, IT practitioners that know VMware, but they're not aware from the program, just because they don't speak English, don't have access. So then we have those focus, those key VExperts that we call VExpert Pro. We try to have in every country, so they can be the link between the program and those potential VExperts that need some help.
Yeah, and if we actually look at the map, Corey, I think we do have a VExpert Pro in almost like 100 different countries, right? Like
it's a high number. Yeah, it's a high number. And shout out to Ariel Sanchez as well. Now that we're talking about the start of the VExpert Pro program, I know Val as well as Ariel Sanchez. We're both kind of doing it at the same time. I think we saw Val do it first, but yeah. Shout out to them and all the VExpert Pros.
Ariel was the biggest advocate for this program. Actually, I was very thankful to him.
And so I assume you speak fluent Portuguese?
Yes, I do. Yes, that's my first language. I was
Nice. So say hello to Corey in Portuguese so we can get a feel for your Portuguese. We always speak to you in English, but I have a feeling you have very smooth, fluent Portuguese.
I could have trained Corey before. Corey would not be on this. Ok. Oi, Corey, tudo bom?
Nice. There you go. All right. So let's get on with that. So good introduction. Welcome to being formally, part of the community as a community leader, because you're running VMTN now and you're working with V Brown Bag and the code sessions to get all the European code sessions and V Brown Bag sessions scheduled. So how is that going? I don't know. I think I saw that we're going to have like 40 or 50 sessions in the theater. How's that going?
We have the schedule almost closed. We have 48 right now. Few of them are still working. We'll be 50 at total at the end. And really exciting because we didn't have much space before, but now we have more chairs. We have almost 40 chairs. We're still negotiating that. But that's not the reason. If you run out of a seat, that's not the reason to don't attend the sessions, please, because we have standing space behind the chairs, and you can always find a little corner and watch the session. We'll find a way to accommodate everybody.
Right. So I know that in the sessions in the US, I think we only had 24 chairs, right? So it was like a pretty small theater for each theater. Where in Europe, I think there was like 50 chairs or something like that. So it is like twice as big of seating capacity theater. But we're only going to have one theater. We're not going to have a code and we put them all together, one bigger theater, 50. That's like a normal session room. But it means that we'll flip between V Brown Bag and code sessions throughout the 3 days. Is it 3 days or 4 days? How many days is it?
4 days. It goes from 1 to 7
Yep.
on November.
Right. So that was one of the things that was different from US and Europe, is that in Europe, we got an extra day. In the US, we only did 3 days of sessions. So one theater, but 4 days, right? So that got us a larger number of sessions that we could accommodate, right?
Mm-hmm. And that I was not updated on the chair number, so I'm excited now that I know we have 50. I can start to leave this good news.
Yeah, there was no standing room left in the US sessions. Right? It was
right. So that was the feedback we got, was that we had overscheduled to not enough chairs. So in Europe, we've tried to fix that. So we have a bigger space, made one bigger theater, and then 50 chairs, which should be good. So how? Let's talk day pass. Day pass versus session pass. Do you know if you need a full session pass to get to our area? I don't know if you know the answer. I might have to go look that up. I know we had issues with that with speakers in the US, but I haven't heard whether we're going to have issues with where it's going to be at. I don't think it's an issue.
We had some budget constraints this year, so unfortunately, we're not giving the day pass for speakers or speakers pass. So we are trying to select the ones who already will be at VMware Explore, and they will be given a session there, or they are attending. So we're trying to prioritize those people because we don't have much budget, and unfortunately, we could not, even for our team ourselves, we got 2 passes and we had to buy another 2. So
yeah, that's right. We actually have to buy our own passes to get us there. And then the event session team said, sorry, we're not giving you any passes for, they gave us passes for code speakers, but not V Brown Bag. A year and a half ago, or back in 2019, they gave us passes for all code and all V Brown Bag speakers. Then they did just code. Now they're doing in Europe. They were afraid they weren't going to have very many, like 3,000 people or whatever. And now they're ahead of Reg. So they've come back and said, oh, here, you can do more now, but it's too late because we're already scheduled. But now they're not giving many session passes, just as me, Corey, and you and Bill Roth have learned that we have to buy our own. So just, and pay. So there you go.
Where's the booth going to be located?
It's going to be on the Hall 8.
It
the
is
American European Code Theater is going to be at Hall 8.
Hall 8, which I don't have a map of that, but I think it's down the long snaky hallway they have. So you reg up at one end, and then you go into the Barcelona Fiera up at the end where you reg. Then you come down that long snaky hallway, which has like cool art on it and that kind of stuff. And then you get to the main areas, and I think we're in one of those main areas when you're at the end of the hall.
Okay.
Right? If you remember the layout of that, but I'd have to.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but Hall 8, which is good. And I don't think in the U.S. you had to have a certain badge to get to certain areas, right? So if you got a day badge, you weren't able to get into Moscone West with your day badge. You had to have a full conference badge. I think that's not the case in Europe. I think you can just get one of these day passes, and then you can come explore and come see us, and we're going to be there. So that's good. Yeah, cool. So how many sessions did you say?
48 already scheduled and closed. And we're working on 2 more sessions.
And 2 more sessions. And then I know that there are going to be blogger tables in the area as well, right?
We have the blogger tables, and I think it's going to be 3 blogger tables. And we have as well the stickers wall, as we had in the US.
Yep.
So this is something that everybody was excited about, and you can go and can grab your stickers and leave your stickers. You can do exchange and add to your collection. The other
thing that I believe there's like a hang space chair area outside of our booth, not too far away. So there's a place to kind of congregate and socialize as well in this area. So I think that will also be nice, because I don't think the booth has any beanbag chairs or anything like that. I think with the blogger tables, and then we have the theater, which is a little bit bigger, so we got more seats for people, and then we have an entryway. So who's actually going to be at the show from the community team?
From our team, you mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be Eric Corey Romero this year, of course, he can't miss. Jean, that's the VMUG executive.
Yep.
And me, 4 people this year, because it's a smaller event, and some of the folks that used to be there, they left the team, and it's going to be us 4, and I can't wait to see everybody and go to our booth, say hello, hang out for a bit. And
I did pay for Matt Langeth to also be there. So
Matt's going, right?
Oh, very cool.
Matt will.
That's exciting, yeah.
So he's going to help us at the booth as well. And then if we're lucky, Bill Roth's going to do a developer session. I have not confirmed that he's going to make it or not, right? We have to see if we can put him in the luggage, get a big suitcase and call him a dog, pay $300 to have him, run.
Service animal.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he's my service animal. Put a leash on him and have him guide me around. We're doing everything we can to get there. It is a fun back half of the year, and we talk budgets. We did spend a lot to do the U.S. Event, right? And our budgets had been cut because there's a recession, and so we did make sure we had enough to do U.S. And then we've gone back and asked for Europe, and then we have we're by hook or by crook, we're all getting there, and we're all going to be there doing the thing, right? So that's why we're all talking this way, not because we're not intending on going, not because we're not doing the same stuff we did in the U.S. It's just that it was always tricky to get the funding in the last quarter of the year, which is Q4, and my motto is don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. And so we're going to be doing that and sending people and go, oh, I don't know, why was that so expensive? Oh gosh, we missed our budget. Oops, to go that route. So excited about that. What else do we have with regards to things that are happening in Europe? We have the sessions, we have labs on hands. HOL labs are going to be there. There is the party. I haven't heard what the band is going to be or anything like that. I don't know if Julia, if you've heard any of that.
I'm not aware yet, but I know we have the VMUG people. Jen will be there, so we have some VMUG events going on.
Yes, there is a V Rockstar party that's going to be happening. So I think you can go register for the V Rockstar party, and that is the VMUG party, right? So I think V Rockstar and VMUG get together and put on that party, and that Yeah. So Gene will be there.
Are we having CTAB?
CTAB is going on as well. Yeah. So the Customer Technical Advisory Board is happening. So that one is going on as well. We picked that group up, but the Europe marketing team are actually going to run that for us, and we're just going to get the results. And so somebody who actually runs that program isn't going to actually go to Europe because the European marketing agency has decided they can do it for us. So again, saving some amount of travel, but we're going to be there as well. And then I think VMUG has a hotel block, so I think I'll be at the VMUG hotel block. So VMUG has got some other things going on, some leadership things. I think they're going to do a leadership lunch. They normally do a leadership lunch for the European leaders, so looking forward to that. Haven't heard anything about the keynotes yet. So the keynotes and the parties have not heard anything about what they're going to be, but I assume there's going to be that. And then it is interesting that they've got everything open on Monday, right? Like, so I was expecting a shorter event, but it looks like everything's going to be open on Monday, and then we're going to be doing our sessions. The labs will be open on Monday, and I think there are going to be other sessions happening on Monday as well. And then keynote starts on Tuesday.
Yes, our sessions start at 1 p.m. on Monday, and then on Wednesday at 11, and early in the morning at 9 at Thursday.
Right. And then Tuesday, the keynote is, I think, at like 9 a.m. or something like that. And so we start
at 8:15. I might be wrong, but
all right, 8:15. Don't listen to me, right? Yeah, you'll be late to the keynote. Nice. So that's the typical environment. I should go check chat because I see chat moving here. V Rockstar is showing as sold out. No. Yeah. Well, it is kind of late. Yep, it is kind of late. Now, what I would say about V Rockstar is, if you didn't get registered, just show up like an hour later or an hour and a half later, and they'll normally let you in. There's usually a line out front, but then after about an hour and a half, various people just come by, do a drive-by, engage there for a while, then they move on to the next event. So if you're thinking about coming and hanging out with us and saying hello, then definitely come. And you haven't scheduled, then just come an hour later and you'll get in.
Julia and Eric, did you both register
for the V Rockstar party?
Yeah.
I did not, but because I'm a VMUG board member, I think somebody registered for me, or somebody put me on a list.
I registered. I got on the list, and we know Patrick personally, so you guys can come with me. I'll get you.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. We'll tag along. I didn't register yet. I have to be.
I do not believe in jumping in lines. I refuse to play that game. I will stand.
No, I remember. I do recall in the past that they do have the registration, but I don't remember them ever turning anyone away unless it was like the building was at capacity, and the building management wouldn't let anybody else in.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Is that they generally just scan. As long as you bring your VMware old badge. That's what I've discovered about these parties. Is that especially the V Rockstar, if you don't have your VM World badge, it's harder to get in. But if you have your VM World badge, they just scan you and let you in as long as they're not above capacity, which there's always people leaving. So as soon as somebody leaves, they just scan you and let you in. So it's actually quite nice. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the Nook, Bill Roth, talking about how to run vSphere on your Nook. Excited about that. I believe that vSphere 8 will be out. And so we've been doing vSphere 7, but I think the vSphere 8 will be GA'd I think it was supposed to be GA'd, what is today?
It's GA'd now.
Is it GA now?
I'm almost certain.
I thought I had heard 14th, so I don't know if it's out, or if it's a day or two.
You can download it now. I put the link in the chat.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It was out. It was GA'd yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, I requested licenses for the experts yesterday as well. So hoping to have those this week.
Nice. All right. So there you go. Maybe we can go play with 8 now. Get that up and running as well. Yep.
Yeah, you have 2 sessions, Eric. One is going to be on Monday at 3 p.m. and you have a second session at Wednesday, 4:15. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I got a Monday slot. Ooh.
Yeah, I got
Wow.
you.
Nice. It's good to know people in high places. So this is the VMUG running sensors on your on your Nook. Sorry, not VMUG, on your Nook, running sensors on your Nook and running vSphere. Maybe I'll say 8 because maybe Bill will get 8 and get 8 running on his Nook as well. But Bill Roth's going to come by and talk about how he's running 7 on his Nook. A couple things you have to do. You have to buy memory, you have to buy SSD, and you have to buy a external network dongle for like $14 on Amazon. So those are the 3 things. So you're in for about $70 to get vSphere up and running on your Nook if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, he also ran Kubernetes on his Nook, so he got that running, and I did sensors on the Nook. So come get your Nook from Corey and play that. And I believe that Bill has putting a code blog up to talk about his experience making all that work. So very cool. I love the little Nooks. They're my favorite little machine, run x86, and I'm happy that they're doing their thing. All right. I know we got a late start, and I know I want to keep it to the hour. On the merger went out this morning. Oh, that's interesting. On the chat, Tony Foster, the shareholder vote on the merger went out this morning. Oh, I wonder how it ended. Did they have the vote? Oh, the vote goes out and then shareholders.
No.
Say it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. They send the material out, and then we have some amount of time to vote, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. I like the price per share, so I'm going to vote yes. Even though Broadcom has its reputations, I think they are a big data center company. I think they're going to be good for VMware from a data center perspective. If you're using products like blockchain or other kind of things, well, maybe they're not going to be too into that, but they're completely into vSphere, vSAN, NSX, and all the core products. So I can say that with confidence. They are also super into VMUG, so I can say they totally get community as well. So that's I'm not allowed to talk about these type of things on this podcast, so I will be quiet, and I will not recommend how you vote, but I am actually fairly interested in Broadcom's focus on the data center, right, and what it means, and also then how to run vSphere in the cloud, that kind of stuff. They're not against that from my take. I think they're just like, this world is about vSphere. We like vSphere. Let's do vSphere. Let's do more vSphere. Let's build more stuff on vSphere. So I think that's pretty cool. Corey, it reminds me of the days of going from Paul Maritz. Do you remember the days of Paul Maritz when Paul Maritz said we were not allowed to talk about virtualization?
Yep, I do remember that.
Pat Gelsinger came in and went, "Oh, what do you mean you can't?" Yeah, well, Paul Maritz believed so strongly in cloud computing that we were forbidden in marketing to use the term virtualization, which
I do recall that
program is kind of like odd, because you're like, well, we do the V expert program, but don't ask us what V is, because we'll have to sign language it, because we're not actually allowed to say
violent experts.
Yes, exactly. Violent experts.
And violent.
Violin. I thought you said
violin experts.
That we're a bunch of violent experts.
Right? No.
Yeah. But then Pat Gelsinger came in, and he looked at it, he says, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." And before that, we used to have to do surveys to see how much cloud recognition we had. So Paul Maritz had us running $1 million surveys to see, whether our cloud recognition, name recognition cloud had improved, right? And we were seen as a cloud vendor by only about 4.8% of survey participants in the survey. And so they were like, well, we got to get to like 4.9. We got to get this to the 20%. And at that time, I don't know if you guys remember, this is like in 2009, maybe 8, 9, something like that. We didn't have any cloud products. Not a single one was SaaS oriented cloud. We named one of the products, like we named vSphere like cloud, right? But it was like internal, right? It was like running vSphere and making it your private cloud, but we hadn't even named it private cloud yet, right? We were just like, we can name one of the products with a cloud in it. And I remember Robin Matlock coming on like, well, we have cloud products. We got blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's not really a cloud product. That's just something that we named cloud, but it doesn't run in the cloud. It has nothing to do with the cloud, right? And it took us until we got Pat Gelsinger in, where we were then finally allowed to just use SDDC. So that was when the SDDC term turned up when Pat came, and we were able to talk about virtualization of the data center. Well, I feel a little bit like Broadcom is a little bit like that, right? I feel like Broadcom is going to come in, and they're very interested in the data center. They're like, we could grow in the data center for the next 20 years, no problem. There's lots of business to have. Now, Broadcom makes chips for data center computers, and so I get where they're coming from. So should be interesting. So that's an interesting narrative today. Julia, we're running out of time. Now I've checked chat. VMUG in the chat. VMUG Advantage has not hit vSphere 8 yet. No, we're working on that problem as well. So Corey and Gene is also working on, Gene Williams is working on trying to get the Advantage program upgraded to 8, as well as the VXpert program upgraded to 8. And
we're not even allowed to request licenses until we go GA. So, Gene and I were both, on the same email chain requesting licenses yesterday morning.
Right. Makes sense.
Yep.
So Julia, you're from Brazil, but now you're down in South Florida. Let's talk barbecue here. So VBarbecue is our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/VBarbecue, VBARBECUE. The V stands for violin, apparently. You can go check us out on that channel and give us a like. But we always what is your favorite barbecue? And I think you live down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida these days. So do they even barbecue down in Florida, or is it kind of like too hot and humid to go outside?
So that's what I'm gonna say. The few months in the year where it's fresh, we do barbecue outside, and of course, being from South Brazil, where barbecue is a big thing, and I would not exaggerate if I say that's the best barbecue in the world in South Brazil, because we're frontier with Argentina and Uruguay, so that's the land of barbecue, and our barbecue is just meat and thick salt. That's it. If you have a high quality meat, we don't need much sauce. That's how we barbecue. And the picanha, of course, you guys might have tried this on Brazilian steakhouses in US. It's one of our favorite cuts, and simple, just salt and meat. Of course, as a side, you usually do potato salad. And
that makes sense. I have been to the all-you-can-eat barbecue, and they just bring sticks of meat, and they aren't really seasoned. They're just really high-quality meat, and then they just carve that off, and it's good. But it's maybe salt and pepper if you're lucky, but not a lot of. Just maybe some light rub of some kind, but that's it. It's the meat.
Some garlic sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then then the salad bar, right? So you buy, and I think these things you usually pay like $50 or $60, and they're all you can eat, right? You hit through the great salad bar that has everything, potato salad.
You don't even have to get up.
Right. And I think that's a strategy because it's an all you can eat meat place, but they have such a good buffet of all these different, artichoke hearts and all kind of really yummy stuff, watermelon, that you tend to fill up at the salad bar, and then you end up eating not that much meat, right? Yeah,
I don't go to salad bar at Brazilian steakhouses.
No, you don't.
I'm chicken hearts and every other piece of meat you can possibly get.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, well, guys, I know we've gotten our flights to get to Europe, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see everybody, see all the great influencers. I mean, I just the Netherlands crowd, all the great people we have on the podcast from the Netherlands that come over that do a lot of evangelism. I feel like Europe is still the rock. We're the rock star of the European compute scene because they're not as big a AWS cloud type vendors. So it's really fun to go over there because everybody is just excited, and we're like king of the hill when it comes to IT technology. So I'm looking forward to coming over and being part of that excitement. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, with that, we're going to let everybody go. We will be back again next week. We're going to get back on our every Wednesday routine. A lot of exciting stuff coming up, and we'll be back again next week. And then until then, go get some barbecue and have a great day.
Thank you.